Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thank you very much for joining me in my exploration of the wide world of pens. And you see in front of you a pen very worthy of being on a turntable, held up by a crab. I got some great winter sunlight coming in, and it plays off well on the aesthetics of this pen. Yes, it's the Hongdian maple leaf pen, and I'm just impressed. I got it for a great price. Here's the listing on eBay. It generally goes for close to $30 US, but sometimes people have it for around $25 US, but this was 20. So I'm very happy with that. I consider myself a frugal shopper. Some may disagree with that, but I try to get the best price, and I enjoy all the items that come into my possession. So Mr. Crab is going to wink at you, and we're going to take the pen off the turntable and let that sunlight play on it. Sometimes reading in social media, you would think that all Chinese pens were terrible writers, but this is what I've written. No tuning at all to the nib. I just inked it up. Of course, I flushed it first, which some people may not do, but I flush every pen I get, regardless of whether I pay $2 or $200 for the pen. And the flow is great. It's consistent. It handles this glitter ink very, very well. Our dogs are barking at squirrels. I'm just surprised that so many people, or at least a lot of people that are vocal, seem to have trouble with almost every Chinese nib, and meanwhile, I have no trouble with hardly any Chinese nibs. Especially these Hongdian ones have written very, very well right out of the box, after flushing, of course. There's nothing like sunlight to bring out nuances and to really, hopefully, show this pen in all its elegance. I'm just impressed with what Hongdian did with this pen, from a design element, from a materials, shape, fit, finish, everything. Cap comes off in a little over 1¼ turns, and we'll see a nice nib. So part of the fun of photography is getting the right light at the right angle. So the sunlight is now coming in from the right, and it does play well on this incredible nib and that very interesting pearlescence in the resin. Just standard plastic feet on the other side, which we've seen in so many pens, but it works well. The pen was just shipped in a standard bubble wrap envelope when it was wrapped in bubble wrap, so it survived the transit very well, and it was in this cellophane sleeve with that inventory label on it. We'll give you the Chinese translation for your educational entertainment. I want to make certain I capture all the detail in the nib because it is quite nice. Hongdian really has done a good job, and I think you can now appreciate some of the more unique features. That pearlescence is just swirled through this resin, similar to the peacock teal color. And again, the detail is just, I'm impressed. Hopefully the visuals are coming through for you. Small cap band, but it's a metal cap. One may ask, how does it fit in the hand? Well, it fits well. Feels good. Light's coming in from the wrong angle, but we'll live with it. And it posts fairly deep, but fairly secure too. So, seem to have something for everybody. From looking at the pen, you might think it's a piston fill, but no, it's a faux blind cap. So the section unscrews, takes a few turns, and we'll notice something that I always enjoy is that O-ring at the bottom. So when you tighten down the barrel, it tightens against that O-ring, and it gives you a good feel. You know it's secure. Nice upscale converter, and it's branded. Fits very well, and it has that design that I like, a large opening metal band and a nice rubber insert that'll seal well against the top of that nib assembly. And as one would expect, it just unscrews very easily, and we'll see that nib assembly. Nice O-ring there at the bottom to seal up against the section, keeping the ink away from the nib. Some people have some ink that comes out after you fill, and that could be the cause. So we're going to figure out an ink to put in here and go from there. So one of the things that I enjoy about these pens is notice how thick the wall of that acrylic is in that barrel. Nice and substantial. And the cap is metal, but it has a nice plastic liner that goes all the way up to the top. These pens have sealed up very well, and I haven't had a problem with ink drying out after many weeks. Well, we have some nice sunlight coming in. I thought it would be good to compare these two pens that share a lot of traits. The Peacock N7, which also had a rabbit version, and the N8, which is that maple leaf pattern. The resin used for the barrel has that amazing pearlescence to it. Just really nice. Some may call it chatoyancy, but I call it pearlescence. The clips are pretty much identical, but the gold color on the maple leaf is a slightly lighter gold color, more yellow, and I think that's great. And the other thing that Hongdian does is they put a nice emblem at the top of their cap. The maple leaf is kind of not centered, but I don't think that's critical. But they just did a great job with both of these pens. Of course, the N7 is a piston filler, and the N8 is a cartridge converter, even though they have what appears to be a blind cap, pretty much identical in both pens, and just a flat metal plated piece at the end of the barrel. Again, two pens which I'm extremely happy to have in my collection. And the N8 had sat for a few weeks. I uncapped it, it wrote first time, so I was very impressed with that. I expect the same performance out of the Maple Leaf N8. It would be remiss of me not to bring in the N1S, which was the first pen in this series. It's a piston fill, and I have the piston all the way down. I was playing around with seeing how you open it up, and you need that Hongdian wrench with the two little feet on it to take out the piston if you want. But all of these have the same clip on them, and all of them have their own little bit of interest visually. I like that world peace thing on the dove on the top of the N1S. Hongdian's really been on a roll. Very impressed with what they've done with their designs and the pens that they offer us pen lovers the ability to purchase. I need to do a correction on this feed. Here's that N8 feed, and here's the N6 that supposedly has an ebonite feed, and here's the N7, which is definitely a plastic feed. So these feeds here are definitely an upscale feed. I don't know whether the camera's picking it up, but there's a little bit of glitter that gets residue sitting on that feed, but no big deal on that. So for $20 with this upgraded feed, I'm impressed. The thing we need to take a look at is how Hongdian has used sections. The N8 has the same section as the barrel. On that Peacock, the N7, this is metal, kind of like the metal that's in the cap. So here the section matches the cap, here the section matches the barrel. And in the N1S, obviously the section matches the barrel there too. I think we can see a little bit about the differences in the nibs. The N8 definitely has a nice design on it, and these two have a similar two-tone nib that Hongdian's been doing for a while. All of them are very attractive in my view. Now it's time for some measurements. Here's the critical dimensions of the pen. And all of these in the series from Hongdian have very, very close dimensions, if not pretty much identical. And for my editorial comments, I'm certain you know what they are. This is a great pen. I love it. I'm glad it's in my collection. I'm glad to be able to experience that range that Hongdian's been doing with this fairly classic flat top design. You know, piston fills, ink windows, great themes. And now they've kind of reduced the price to make this pen available to a wider audience by removing the piston. To me, I'll take it either way. I don't mind cartridge converters. They're much easier to clean out. But for some people, that piston in that ink window just sets it off. And as I mentioned earlier, I think just a very comfortable pen to write with. That section fits very well in my hand. As you can see, there's lots of space. I can move my fingers around, which is what I enjoy doing while I write. Yeah, another writing sample. So this nib is smooth. It has some feedback, but I don't mind feedback at all. And with very little pressure, it writes very, very fine line. It is a fine nib, but not an extra fine, but that line is definitely in the extra fine family. A little bit of pressure, it opens up, it lays down more ink. So it's nice that the nib works that way. So I give this a very big thumbs up. Look around, get a good price if you're interested in the pen. I certainly like it. And this ink works well with the pen. I hope this video finds all of you safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens. I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you all have a great, wonderful day, enjoying what's around you, enjoying your pens. Put some ink on paper, or whatever material you want. We've reached the end of this video, and we're going to say bye. Yeah, nib works well, especially with this ink. And yes, I didn't stay in touch with the paper.